This has the potential to go really, really poorly. Got my gas can right here. I'm gonna loosen this up here, try to put a kink in the line, get it into position, let the kink out. Let's see how it goes. Hopefully I don't get gasoline in my eyeballs. I don't think that would probably feel very good. I'm gonna try to avoid it. All right, now. Whoa, hey now, I'm an all-star. Oh, did you look at that? What a fool. I almost got away with no gas on the ground. But that's all right. It could have been a whole lot worse. That's not bad, man. I'm gonna take that one as a win. A little bit of gas down the side. It'll evaporate quickly. No big deal. Let's pull the cap here. Just enough to let it flow better. I believe 10 feet of this stuff is going to be more than plenty for everything, but I'm just going to go ahead and go through the process of kind of laying it out, seeing how much is going to get used back here, and then see what's left for between here and the frame, and then also up front where the tank is. Here's a super scientific test. See how empty it is. Sounds like we're getting close. Or maybe closer than close. We're done. Here with the gas cap. Well, there's the spout running back to the back of the car for the fuel line. Ah, yeah, and here's my, just so crazy. Just, yeah, pull that out. I'll replace that dude. And hopefully my steering will stop making so much noise. Now that's just downright lovely right there. See if I can't get this screen out. If there is a screen, there should be one. My goodness. Okay, yeah. Oh man. Maybe that's the original screen? I'm gonna grab some pliers. You ever seen those videos where the guys pull like this huge worm out of the sand at the beach? Yeah, this might not be quite like that, but it, you know, it reminded me. I am just super curious about this. Have a little closer look at that later. But yeah, I need to clean this up a little bit. Surely some garbage just fell down in the tank. I'm gonna be blasting that out of there. And I might hit up my buddy Alex, like, does it make sense to just wire wheel this and throw some garbage black paint on here just to kind of keep this from getting any worse? Let's see. I don't have a bunch of time, but like I could maybe grab a can of paint. Yeah, that all just came out of this filter sock. I was about to cut the first of this to length, and I think the length of this is great, so I was just going to copy it. And I was looking down that, okay, so this is 1/4 inch, in parentheses, 6.35 millimeters. What is this car supposed to have? 5 millimeters. Here's my 5 millimeter line, and it's not real difficult to get it on, but it's a tight fit. All right. Then take this stuff on, and it just slips right over without even thinking about it. And the only reason that it stays on at all is because you just go crazy on your clamps. So I'm gonna try to make sure I don't ever use 1/4 inch line on a car that wants 5 mil ever again. This is also exciting. I keep things like a 1/4 inch stuff around in my car for things like this. But these new clamps are proper metric, but they are 7 millimeter, which I've never kept in the car before, so I'm adding another size to my tool pouch. 7 mil. Yeah, I think I need to. This back here. Angle is just perfect to block my view, but I think we're basically where we need to be now. That could have gone worse. Not bad. Not bad at all. So these fuel filters you buy at, AutoZone or whatever, are meant for 1/4 inch or 5/16. And man, 1/4 inch is 6.35 mil, not 5 mil. So it is a little challenging to get this line on here. It can be done, and the clamps do fit on there. But yeah, it takes a little work to get it to happen. It's a nice tight fit. You got to back this screw out until it almost loses threads. Hey, babe. Yeah, what do you think?
Well, it looks like something's missing.
That's what's missing.
Oh gosh. Did you intend to do
Oh gosh, yeah, that's part of that. Yeah. Yeah, it's just the fuel tank.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's a lot easier to see and hear and identify exactly where the noise is coming from. Yeah, my 17 millimeter wrench got away from me somehow. Not really sure, but I heard some logic at one point that was hard to argue, man, an adjustable spanner wrench, you're not going to get a whole lot more accurate than that, You push down on it. Anyway, I feel okay using it. Now I'm going to have to be able to make sure that my, I'm just calling it a set screw. I know it has probably a better term, but make sure that spins freely from the nut, because I'm going to have to adjust it. You can hear that. there's like no backlash at this point, and that's not good either. We want some backlash. I mean, you can just barely move this and you're already seeing that move. It's almost direct, but I think there is some backlash in there. It's kind of hard to tell. I'm gonna have to play with this some before I decide that I'm real happy with that. All right, here's the old bushing and the new bushing. Obviously the new bushing has the metal shaft inside of it still, as opposed to this one. And yeah, I'm gonna say that's, you know, not super supple, not really good for service anymore. Now, getting the old one out was really easy. And I didn't expect it to be easy to get the new one in. But let's just see. All right, this might wind up being stupid, but we're gonna find out. Yeah. Hey, that was the answer right there. That worked. That worked good. Sometimes I'm not a complete idiot.
I told you not to be stupid, you moron.
My mom would be so proud of me. Now, what kind of noise do we get when we do this? Oh, like none? Yeah, buddy! Alright, I'm going under. So, this was previously zip tied over to the clutch cable housing, and I think that's a fantastic idea. It just so happens I got a couple of zip ties right here. Where are those zip ties? Ah, here's one. Lovely. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. All right, now. All right. Right here. So, grab that razor blade. Beautiful. So the return spring goes here, goes straight down to those slits you see right there, the fan shroud. And when that's tight, you know, it puts tension on this little check rod here. But when there's no tension on it, I mean, you just barely have to do anything to get that to come loose. And that's not ideal. These things are kind of old and worn out. So I've got these to replace them. Let's just see what we got here. Oh yeah, it's like a lot tighter. I have to work to get it on. My goodness, how hard am I gonna have to work to get it on? Okay, didn't wind up being too bad. I don't know, I just might have had a weird angle start or something. There's kind of a little band in there that might have kind of got out of position a little bit or something. So yeah, now I'll just put the return spring back on and get it all set up. We'll see if we're still opening both carbs at the same exact moment. Now, one other thing I'm pretty excited about. This thing, it just slips over. You know, it just like, I don't know, you might as well have electrical tape or something there. We're going to replace that, see how good that fits. And as long as I got this off, here's the other carb top seal, like we've got over here. Now let's just see how good that fits into here. Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I think these are going to be real nice. So, this is my new seal, and this is my old seal. It's kind of rubbery. Feels a little bit more like plastic than rubber. I think this one will do a better job. And there we go. I like that a lot better. All right, new boot, new hose, new check rods, new seals between the carburetor and the air cleaner, new seal from one half, not really half, one part to the other part of the air cleaner, new fuel line. At some point I'll have to get something more appropriate than this for the vacuum line, and I definitely still need to get better wiring in here. This stuff is garbage, but pretty significant improvement overall. I'm very excited. So I started off with these wonderful wire wheel brushes, and my other drill that's actually an impact works a whole lot better than this thing. It's like a joke. But man, it's slow going, and on the bottom of the tank especially, the rust is a lot more significant and it was harder to get off. So I bust out with this dude here, and this flap wheel is significantly worn down compared to a new one, but boy, I'm still just taking it real easy here. Anyway, you get the idea. That's how that goes. Made some significant headway over where I began, but yeah, there's just still a lot to be done for sure. Top of the tank is looking pretty darn nice at this point. Definitely some more to do, but looking nice. A lot of handwork in the corners and stuff. Is something kind of neat that you're not normally gonna be able to tell on your gas tank, but this has actually been brazed in. I first noticed it on this little dude, and you know, who knows, maybe somebody brazed it back in later or whatever, but being that both of them are brazed in, I'm assuming that's from the factory. Maybe somebody already knows this. Super cool. It's been raining pretty much all day, and this is not the environment to go outside to try to pull all of the paint and rust and everything off of your gas tank, you know, as you can imagine. And I decided to do something ridiculous, as I do so often. Of course, I don't have any proper lighting, but I do have this bike mounted, really amazingly awesome lamp here that, well, I've been able to make it work, put it on this tripod here so that I can get the lighting that I need to be able to really see. You know, the video makes it seem like you can, you know, see what you need to see here, but trust me, when you're trying to work on this, you don't have the proper lighting. But with this guy running, yeah, now I can see what I need to be able to see. It's fantastic. There came the point where this flap wheel was no longer cutting it. Get it? Cutting it? All right, sorry, I tried. So I put a brand new flap wheel on, and let me just tell you, it's nerve-wracking. I'm having to have a very gentle touch, but it's doing the job. It'll get me further down the road, I guess. It's nerve-wracking. You talk to people and like, oh yeah, I did my tank and there were pinholes in it and stuff, and you're going like, and here I am grinding with a freaking flap wheel. But I think if I take my time, it'll be all right. So this certainly isn't perfect yet. And I may or may not actually try to get it perfect, but there was some rust in here, and it's looking a whole lot better. Got a bit of a dent here, which makes it a little harder to use the flap wheel, so I grabbed my wire brush for that, wire wheel rather, and I use that on this corner here so that, you know, I don't jack it up too much by using the flap wheel. But I'll take the flap wheel down here and use the wire wheel later in here because it gets into these spots so much better, and should be looking pretty good soon.
I claim to be no kind of paint expert, but I've heard something as far back as I can remember about prep work being key. You must get completely to bare metal. Any crap remaining will result in poor paint there. We finally reached the fun part. Not only am I obviously excited about laying down some paint, but I also really enjoy the challenge of figuring out a way to protect things like very small female threads. Taking the time to produce something you can be proud of is so rewarding.
Yeah, it's my first application on the first side, and I think it looks pretty decent. I love this black hammered look that Rust-Oleum has. I've painted a few other things with it. Hopefully it'll turn out well. I think I'll come back out in a little while and touch up a couple spots. I believe there's a couple in here that need it. And then later on I'll come out and do the other side. Well, I imagine I probably shouldn't expect too much from a rattle can. I got a couple of things here like that dude and that dude there. I'm not going to go crazy with this. I just need it to be good enough and put it back in the car. Now, in the course of all of this adventure, I've allowed a lot of stuff to accumulate, and most of it's not going to be necessary for what remains. So I'm going to tidy up before I get started. So I took a little acetone and cleaned up this surface here around where the tank is going to go in, because I do have a seal that I'm ready to install. And while I'm in here, I'm going to get rid of this extra sending unit wire that I used just to test to see if it was possibly the wire that was my issue, and this extra ground that I was hooked up to the tank with, just to see if that might help resolve the issue, which it didn't. I've decided it's in the gauge. We'll get to that another day. But now it's time to install the seal, drop in the tank. And there wasn't quite enough to actually run all the way around, so after doing the front and the back sideways pieces, I just split what I had left in half and got a little bit of a gap at each end, but I'm sure it'll be just fine. So I'll bust out with the wire wheel again, primarily for the threads. There's a little bit of rust on those, and I didn't go crazy on these other than where I found rust. So yeah, there was some rust on that dude, you can see, but you know, I didn't go crazy in places like that. Put a little oil on my threads. It's time for the question. How much faith do I have in the work I've just done and in, you know, the products I've purchased? And the answer is, I have plenty of faith, but I'm not just gonna empty this entire tank into this other tank here. I'm gonna put just enough in to see if anything's dripping out below real quick. Let's find out. Oh, nothing's like pouring out. That's looking pretty good. I think we might be safe. It would have been pretty hilarious if I hadn't remembered to get all that stuff connected back there first. You know, like really hilarious. All right, I think I'm probably pretty good. I'm gonna pour the rest of this in. You know what they say about hindsight? You know, it's possible that this seal should have gone on the underside of the tank itself, and then I might have had the exact right amount. But, you know, it's really not that big of a deal. Oh well, I'll move on at some point mentally, maybe. Now that I've filled the tank, I'd like for the fuel to just flow back here and get, you know, as close to the pump as I can. And yeah, that means pulling this dude off and just kind of letting gravity do its thing to a certain point. But this pump, you know, these fittings are more for like a 1/4 inch line, and these things are 5 mil, and they are just super, super tight on here. So I used the flathead screwdriver to kind of gently pry the line away, because, you know, if you think about it, just pulling on this, it's almost a little bit like a Chinese finger trap, you know, if you're familiar with those. And so, you know, you really want to push from the edge. And once I got enough room to fit in my 7mm wrench here, now I can just use that to push it the rest of the way off. And it really just took a few seconds with that line loose. I had to pretty quickly put it right back on. Now I'll tighten it back down, and I won't have to just pump and pump and pump and crank the engine forever trying to get fuel down here. Okay, still no leaks at all. I'm happy and ready to move on. Just a little bit of help down the throats of the carbs. Just started right up. Super, super low idle. Heck yeah. timed right yet. No big surprise there. I haven't done much of anything to get it timed right. But it's pulling strong. No coughing, sputtering, choking. Even climbing a hill at a low RPM, it's perfectly happy. Get the timing just right, I should be happy. Yeah, that's not bad at all.